I'm Samantha Brown, professional organizer, decluttering specialist, and business coach. I created Pro Organizers Coach podcast to empower you to reach new heights in your business. I am on a mission to build a supportive sisterhood of passionate professional organizers. So whether you're a seasoned pro or you're just getting started, this podcast is for you. Hey friends, welcome back to the Pro Organizers Coach podcast. Today we are going to talk about all of our favorite subject, content strategy and content in general. So today I actually have Joshua Altman with me, and he is going to bring some new ideas. This is what he does for a living. And so I thought having him on would be a great addition. And so I appreciate you so much, Josh, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Love it. Okay, so tell everyone a little bit about you, what you do, and then we'll get into the topic.
I'm the managing director of Beltway.media. We are fractional chief communications officers. We work with solopreneurs, small, mid-sized businesses, professional services firms, and startups primarily. Anyone who needs communications, needs content, but it's not a 40-hour-a-week job for someone, and they don't need a full-time person, which is why we are fractional. We're contractual, we're part-time, but we're fully integrated into your team. What we do as fractional chief communications officers is we have two main goals. The first is shape perception. The second is build and maintain trust. And for businesses like your listeners, that's critical because these are people who are coming into homes, touching all of your stuff, is critical for so many businesses, but especially home services.
Yeah, absolutely. I say it all the time. Like, the more we can build up that trust and get people to know who we are and why they can trust us, and just for them to get familiar with us, the more likely they are to hire us, because exactly what you said. You are letting them into your home. We're going to be going through stuff. And a lot of our people that call us, they don't even invite friends and family over. So for them to trust us to let us come into their house and help them is a huge step for a lot of our clients that reach out to us. Okay, so tell me a little bit. I'm kind of curious because, we all have our ideas of like what we should do for content, but you do this for a living and you do it for small businesses. So, in your opinion, when it comes to content, what is the best content strategy, or is there one? Or are there the best like platforms to be on? What are your thoughts around that?
There's no singular best. There's no best strategy. There's no best platform. There's no best solution. There are a couple of ways to think about best. What is the best for you? That means your time, if you're going to hire someone like my firm, your budget, your commitment, your content, what it actually is. Do you have great photos? Do you have great videos? Are you doing white papers? That's all going to be different for different people and different people within the same industry. And then there's the best in terms of within that section, within video, within photo, that's how much can you do? Because like you said, this is what we do full time. And we come in because businesses are tired of doing it for themselves because they don't have that need for a 40-hour per week person. And they've been doing maybe one or two posts a day, maybe 2 posts a week, because that's all they have the staff bandwidth for.
Yeah.
So when you think of best, it's what are you able to do and do to a high level and do consistency. And high level can mean a lot of things. People think that means, Hollywood style production, the best stills ever. It actually means in many cases the opposite. We talked a lot about trust already. And one thing that really affects that is authenticity. We talk about this a lot in our weekly newsletters. Authenticity, being human, and we see that even more now with AI and the rise of what we've all heard termed as AI slop and AI images and slop images. When you can do something authentic and it doesn't look Hollywood, it looks real. It looks like an iPhone photo, but it's still good enough that it's not distracting. It has good lighting. It's clear. If it's a video and you're talking, you sound intelligible. The audio is clear. And you can really do that usually with devices we all have. So you don't need a huge investment to get what is high quality content for these platforms, because high quality doesn't mean Hollywood.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And I think a lot of us are definitely going back to that place of exactly what you said: authenticity, community, trust. Like, those are things that for a period of time, it feels like after COVID, everyone got very like, make $1 million in a day. Look at this car I rented, but I own it. Like, this kind of fake everything. And that's what was actually selling things. And then now it's almost like everyone's figured that out and caught on to it, that like sometimes too good to be true really is too good to be true.
Mhm.
But the other word I love that you said is consistency. Let's go there for a minute, because I am, one of my phrases that I tell my ladies all the time in my community is plant seeds, keep it simple, but be consistent.
Mhm.
Because if you're not consistent, I don't care what you're doing, you're not going to succeed. So, can you kind of go into that a little bit more with what you do when it comes to, because I know you're doing it content for businesses, right? So, if do people need to be creating things, sending them to you like on a consistent basis of like weekly? Are you able to kind of repurpose stuff? Do you ask for a handful of things up front, or do you guide them through that? What does that typically look like?
A little bit of all of that, because usually people come in and they have some materials, they have done something. Send all that to us up front. We work
Mhm.
with you. You'll hear this phrase a lot: content calendar. It's exactly what it sounds like. It is like you have your personal calendar for all your personal schedule, you have your business calendar. Same thing, content calendar. It's just a planner of what's coming up. And it helps you make sure that you're really hitting all the things you want to hit, both thematically, scheduling wise, in terms of type of content, videos, photos, text, all of that. So when you say, be consistent, people kind of hear tips online. You need to be posting 3 Instagrams a day and doing 4 comments to get algorithmically high. And maybe that's true in some networks. It
Mhm.
might be true in many of them, but people see that and they think it's daunting because they have their
Yes.
regular job to do. Do what works. If you can reliably do 2 to 3 a day, or over a course of a 5 day work week, instead of doing 10 to 15, which that's that 2 to 3 a day, you're getting 3 to 4 per week, 5 to 6 per week, whatever you're comfortable with. That doing that consistently will be better than trying to hit that 15 per week, 3 per day, in terms of just posting, and then failing at it, and because you're busy and you have your full job too, and then you get stressed, and then you don't go back to it in week 2 because you felt like you couldn't do it. So stick with what you can do. We get asked a lot, what's the best? And we get that asked for, social media platforms, website building platforms, everything. It's like, it's the one that you and your business can handle and work with and also grow with.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think too, the other thing with talking about like consistency as well is also what platforms are you able to be consistent with too, right? Because if all of a sudden, kind of like you were saying, how many times you post per day is too daunting, well then how many places you put it could also be a very daunting task as well. Do you all typically repurpose stuff? Like, do you have your clients send you like a video and then you'll pull like shorts from it and small video, like pull different things to put on different platforms, or what does that typically look like?
If you have a video, we're going to repurpose that a lot. But if you're thinking about posting on different platforms, there are a lot of tools out there that help
Mm-hmm.
you do multi platform posting. Google social media management tools, multi platform, you will find a lot of them at every price point with many different features that are going to be right for different people. So you don't need to think, I need to post everywhere and that's 7 platforms and 7 different things. You can use these tools to help you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing a video and someone was out, they sent us a video. If it's a home service business, if they're cleaners, if they're garage repair, whatever it is, they send us this video. That might be something that goes on YouTube and say a 5 minute, almost its full form. We do a nicer produced video for the longer, where you have an intro, you have an outro, you have people talking. Looks a lot more produced, but still not overproduced, still approachable. We then might take it and do 30-second shorts for YouTube. That becomes, that same 30 seconds can be used on TikTok. It can be used on Instagram. You have 5 minutes of video. You could probably pull 2 or 3 from those 5 minutes. You aren't limited to just repurposing it one time. You know, I do these podcasts, you are on podcasts,
Mhm.
we're doing video right now. A lot of the videos we post, this is I'm talking about my business for us,
Mhm.
are these podcasts. If we have an hour-long podcast, we could get 15 clips on a lot of topics and use that over a long period of time. And then we're not worried about something. We know we have something about content repurposing in home services businesses. We've got that covered. And we have 3 of them that we can use once a week or once every other week for either 3 or 6 weeks. We're covered. We could schedule that, put that on the calendar. So you don't have to be doing everything right away. It doesn't have to be in the moment we're posting. When you're doing
Yeah.
comments, you're doing replies, you're doing engagement, that's different because you don't know what someone else is going to post. You
Mhm.
don't know how you're going to want to reply to it. So you kind of have to do that much more on the fly.
Yeah, and this actually brings up something for me really quickly. So I know, I think about 2 years ago or so, back whenever like followers really were, because this is before ad spend and stuff. And so followers really were like the bread and butter for everyone. You got to get followers. Now
Mm-hmm.
you could have not that many followers, but still get a ton of views. And, like it's not necessarily based on the numbers per se of followers as much anymore, or at least from what I've noticed. But whenever the like the replying and then specifically Instagram. So something that someone had said to me once that I thought was genius, and it does work for us as local service-based businesses, is to go to other people's Instagram platforms that are kind of selling to the same type of people that we
Mm-hmm.
are looking to work with and comment in those comments, even if it's something like a compliment or a oh I love this whatever, just to kind of get your name out there in front of other people's stuff, because
That's
then
very
those
useful.
okay, so that's still like a good strategy for Instagram, is to
Yeah,
go
I
and
mean,
do
there's
that.
on any platform where there's commenting, that helps. You mentioned that now you have a lot more with paid ads. Organic changed a lot over the last 5, 10 plus years,
Mm-hmm.
where 10 years ago, organic, you could really do a lot. Now, paid is almost required to some degree because you just need that. If you're really relying on organic, there are hard limits based on this is where followers still are important. Based on the size of your network, there are hard limits. If it can only be shown to your first degree connections initially, and you only have 100, that's only 100 views. If each of those only has 100, you're really limited by nth degree connections eventually, which is
Yeah.
why having the right number of followers, don't try and get Lady Gaga number of followers, where none
No.
of us are going to be that. But something that makes sense, especially local service businesses,
Mm.
where you have a defined geographic area where you're working. Getting a lot of followers 2 cities over might be nice, but it's not going to be nearly as helpful as high quality followers who are engaging, who are in your city. And other service businesses in your city are great to comment on because people are going to be looking there and it just gets you seen.
Because even if they're just like, oh, who's that? Because I tell my ladies, ideally, if you can, depending on the platform, but like the name of mine on Facebook is like, it's Love Laugh Organized, but then it's professional home organizing.
Mm-hmm.
Because when people see home organizing, they're like, oh, what's that? Like it always brings this interest with it where they at least want to see what you're all about. And they'll at least click on your platform and go check you out. And so I think at least even if you just have home organizing or home organizer next to the word of your business as your business page when you're commenting on someone else, don't go commenting on them with your personal business or your personal page. Use your business page. I've done that before where I'm like getting all this stuff ready to go out and like, getting it out ready on Meta. And then I've literally hit publish before and then realized that just went out on my personal stuff. Or it went out on my like POC stuff versus my home organizing business. I'm like, ah.
Yeah, it's important to keep those straight. One thing I talked about authenticity, people want to interact with real people as opposed to a business. Where you're seeing a lot of success are people who, for their business account, their name won't be our username that we use isn't Joshua Altman. It's the comms chief on pretty much every platform, except LinkedIn because my LinkedIn is older and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to change it because so many people have that link still.
Yeah.
But it has my name in the personal bio. So the content's really coming from me, a person. But it also represents a business and people know that it is someone from that business. And you're seeing a lot more return when it's coming from Jane Doe versus Home Organizing Corp.
Oh, okay. I mean, I could see that. So, like, and here's another question. So, a lot of my ladies that come to me, they are teachers, and teachers are taught you keep your personal, you
Yes.
keep your, and rightfully so, they're teachers. I totally get the thinking behind it. But when they come into running a business, all of a sudden, they want to kind of keep their personal account totally separate. And for me, I'm like, that's more people you can reach. Like, why wouldn't you post on both? So, and like use both in the
Mm-hmm.
sense of like, if I have something, I mean, I am still the business. A lot of us are solopreneurs. And so if they find it on my page, it's okay because like it all intertwines in my world. And I've actually had a handful of my students that I've coached around this that were so against it. And the second they were like, you know what, you're right, because it also builds that trust and authenticity. The second they can see your personal page and your personal page is no longer private, and they can see, oh, you're a mom and you have dogs. I've literally had people hire me
Mm.
because I have dogs and they have dogs, like
Yeah.
versus the other, options they have in
I
Knoxville.
made a post about dogs on LinkedIn today.
Oh, see, right? Like people love their pets and rightfully so. But the more they can get to know us. And so do
Yeah.
you find
Well,
that it is good to kind of cross pollinate in
it's
a way with
not
your
necessarily
personal?
cross that you want to keep 100% personal, keep that, but then your professional account has that other stuff too. So
Okay,
you
I
can
see what you're saying.
include it to build that trust to show that this is a person, not a faceless business organizer corp. And you
Right.
can include that you have the dog, that you're doing stuff, that you're a normal person who we can trust to come into our home and handle all our belongings. That is still a professional presence versus your really purely personal presence that might be a 10-year-old account that you don't want to be tied in with this new business.
That's
And
actually
that's how you
a
can get
really good
away with a
point.
little both.
Yeah, so then when you get ready to post something that you don't want or that you're okay, like, oh, this one would be okay to have on like it's good to put those personal things because I kind of teach and I could be wrong, like I'm totally open to learning too. But I kind of teach my ladies because a lot of them, and we were talking about this before we hit record, and you said you're very similar. A lot of us we don't wake up in the morning thinking I can't wait to create content today. I love posting, right? It's kind of okay, I need to for my business, so I will, but it's not like our doesn't get us super excited to do. And so whenever it comes to creating that content, I totally just lost my train of thought. Where was I going with that? I was trying to remember what were we talking about right before that? Cuz
Loving posting.
yes, I know, loving posting, but there was a specific question. I don't even know. This never happens to me. It's been a long day. Okay, let's go here for a second then, because I have so many things running through my head that I want to make sure to ask you about. So, when I'm at a client's home, here's another place that a lot of people get stuck. So, a lot of our clients, like, they do sign in our agreement that everything is 100% confidential unless they're okay with us, taking before and
Mhm.
after photos and that kind of thing. So a lot of our clients, you can't just start grabbing your phone and all of a sudden, like, no, their personal belongings are all drawn out everywhere, and you're creating content around. Like they aren't comfortable with that. And so trying to figure out that balance of creating content where the client's still going to be okay with it. And oh, that got me right back to where I was a minute ago. I teach to think of your social media as a portfolio. And that kind of takes the stress off of like, I have to post every day, all the things, since we don't love posting all the time. So if it's a portfolio, I do love your idea of like putting your personal stuff in there because that should be a part of your portfolio. You're showing people who you are and building the trust and that kind of thing. But when it comes to creating the content, that's where I think a lot of us get stuck is because again, and a lot of us work with our clients, like the organizers that work for their clients, like they go in, the client's not even there, and they're doing the organizing part of organizing. That's super simple. You're pulling stuff out of a pantry, you're putting it back in bins, it looks beautiful. It's totally easy to create content around that, right? But if you're in someone's bedroom and you're pulling everything out of their dresser and you've got their bras and panties and like all of these things everywhere, and they are sitting there with you, decluttering and going through stuff, it is so hard to be like, hold on, let me take a photo of this. Or
Mhm.
if their kids' photos are in the background, or so do you have any like people you work with or any tips around like maybe some ideas of what we could be posting, or maybe are we missing something to post when it comes to that? Or do you have any ideas?
Well, I mean, you guys have great visuals. You have this huge before and after contrast, but like you said, people aren't necessarily comfortable with all of that being shown.
Yeah.
One thing you could always do is ask, because if you don't ask, they don't know it's something you might want to do. There's the option ask, and you do, if you say yes, it's 10% off. Some people
I was
I
about to
know have
say
the,
maybe do a discount for like the people that are willing.
yeah, and that can work. Some people, because of what you're doing, they might say there's no discount that I'd want
Is
this
worth it.
public, even if it's anonymous and we're just saying we were at a house in New York City. There are
Yeah.
lots of places that people live in New York City, but they still don't want that. In terms of photos of kids and family and that's on display, you can go in and edit and do blurs and remove that sort of thing, but you have to be careful to make sure you get all of it. Because it's
Yes.
very easy in a home to get you missed this picture on that side table that you couldn't really see, but it's there.
Yes.
Time lapses would be great, but again, that might be something people aren't inherently comfortable with because of the nature of what you're doing. The best thing you could
Yeah.
do is ask someone, ask each client, this what we would like to do this. If you're okay with it, great. If you're not, that's
No
great too.
problem. Yeah.
And leave it at that. They might be okay with you just showing it after, which of course doesn't have that great contrast,
Yeah. So most
but
of my clients are okay. Here's what I've learned over the years is that most of my clients are okay with a quick scan of the before or even a photo of the before. Typically, they're fine with that. And the same at the end. They're okay with a photo or a quick scan of like a 7-second video where you're just kind of scanning the room.
mhm.
That is, but the in between is so hard to get them, and rightfully so. I don't blame them. I wouldn't want my stuff
Oh
out
yeah,
on social media either. It's just for the life of me, I've been trying to figure out how to incorporate it or how to create content because like I said, when it's the organizers, because there's two parts to organizing. There's the decluttering, then there's the organizing.
mm-hmm.
A lot of my listeners, we focus more on the decluttering, the life coaching part of it, the helping them to change habits. Like it's more of the emotional stuff, and the decluttering is what a lot of us are focused on, a little more so than the organizing piece. The organizing piece, most clients are like, I don't care, like if it's a kitchen or, and maybe that's the answer, right? Like when it's a kitchen, a pantry, a bathroom, something
Yeah,
that people don't care about, maybe that's the time to ask a client. Or once you've done one or two sessions with a client, maybe that's when you bring it up and they've gotten more comfortable with you and your process with them.
definitely using something where it's just cabinets, pantries, a bathroom that is pretty nondescript and nothing super personal in there might be
Yeah.
a good way. Another is if you're doing it, you could focus on you. You could set up a camera, mount it. We see you, your hands moving back and forth, you being intent, looking at something. We don't necessarily see what it is, but we see you, and you could explain in a voiceover, we were working with this client and this is us working, and that is maybe just a limit of what this industry can do. And every industry has limits. We work with regulated industries, and there are a
Mm,
lot of limits on what they can and cannot say. It happens, and if there's
yeah.
a limit because of that's legal limits, but if there's a practical limit because this is what people are comfortable with, you work with it and you
Yeah.
figure out how to show something. Close ups of hands can be really good. And there are
Okay,
wearable on.
that's it. That is what I was getting ready to ask you. So I have seen the whole like what are they faceless videos, right? And
Mhm.
for the life of me, I am like, am I supposed to walk in with like a camera on my forehead? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing to get this content? Like, how are people getting the content?
There are two major ways. The first is they're wearing the camera.
Okay.
Like you said, sometimes it's around their neck. You search Amazon for wearable phone camera mounts. You will find all types of contraptions.
Okay. That's
But
good to
that,
know.
like, yeah, they're there. And the other is they have someone helping them who's holding the camera.
Yeah. Yep. And that's the other thing too, right? And like, because even if you put it on a tripod or you put it somewhere, that's the other place where I kind of get stuck sometimes because I'm like, hey, I'm like down, let's say I'm in a
Yeah,
bathroom and I'm under the sink. Well, they're not gonna be able to see what's under the sink there with me unless I at least pull it out and then maybe have it angled. It's a lot of extra thought that goes into
yeah,
like how to do that. And I guess that also for a lot of us, especially when we're first starting, we have this like because clients are paying us per session, which a session is typically 3 or 4 hours. So in that time frame, we feel like we're on the clock, right? Like we're trying to, because
yeah.
it's a time based and we're getting paid and we want our clients to feel like, wow, they got so much done. I'm so happy with it. And I think a lot of us feel like, well, if they pulled out a camera or started playing with their phone, like I don't even answer messages when I'm at clients' homes because I don't want to be disrespectful. I recently just got a watch so I could actually see if an important message comes through because I feel like I'm being disrespectful if I start pulling my phone
Yeah.
out in the middle of a session, even though that may be my own bias or whatever. But to me, I'm like, they're paying for this time. I want it to be about them, period.
Yeah, and a couple ways you can address that. One is again asking up front, "Hey, I want to just get some video of me working. I know we planned for a 4 hour session. I know it's going to take this amount of time. We'll do, if you're okay with it, we'll do 4.5 hours." So you're very upfront about it.
Ooh, I like it. Setting expectations from the get-go. That's a big one for me. I like that
And
idea.
if you know that all the moving the camera around and setting it up is going to take you roughly 30 minutes, just say, again, when you're asking permission to do it, say, if you're able to do an extra half hour today, well, I can do this. If they might have somewhere to be after and they can't do a 4.5 hour session when they only plan for four.
Right.
Another is you really only do it once. You are getting one or two shots per house, per session, and that's it. So you're maybe spending a minute or two to get that camera in position if you're doing like a wearable and going. And
And I
that's
do
not going to
like your
be that
idea.
much more.
And I do like your idea of the where this is hilarious that I had no clue. Like I was making jokes about like what am I supposed to do? Walk in with it on my forehead, but like
Yeah.
I yeah, literally. Yeah. Like they've got that Insta 360 or whatever now.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that would be so cool to like have with me and like see it from my eyes, like the things I'm doing and my hands moving because, with the faceless accounts now that people love." And so, but I was kind of halfway joking when I said it, but like that's a really good idea.
Yeah. They make chest mounts that are, a lot of these are popular with people doing sports or event, many
Oh, the
times surfers or
motorcycles.
skateboarders or people on motorcycles. They'll have a chest mounted camera. They'll have something
Yeah.
on their head. I've seen wearables around people's necks. There are ones that attach to like your upper arm. Depending on what sport you're doing, there are going to be different ways to mount it that is the most effective and the least disruptive. So
Right.
that's why you can find different options that will work for however you're comfortable if you want to do a wearable. And
Yeah.
you could, a lot of these work with your phone. They have, the phone clip in them. It's not buying a new camera, which you can do. There are ones that work like that.
Yeah.
But there are others that you just clip your phone in.
Love it. And then you would literally, so the only other piece of advice I would give for this is kind of like what you said earlier, the light, making sure that because underneath a sink, you're not going to have any light.
No.
And so even if you just had like you for like $20 on Amazon, you can get a little like stand with a light that goes down to this big or the stand goes,
Yeah.
as tall as you need it to. And that is super simple because the the lights that they used to have when you'd have a ring light. Well, I didn't want to bring a big ring light in with me and be like, "Hey, I'm here to go through your stuff." But now they have teeny tiny ones that you can set up, and or even the ones that like pop on the inside of like a cabinet that you can sit there, turn it on. It would give you enough light until you're done, and then you peel it back off like a 3M or command strip kind of thing, where it
Yeah,
like
they make
sticks and
all
then off.
options. There are ones that have clamps on them. So if they're under a cabinet, you open the cabinet door, you can clamp it on. You have a lot of choices, and it's probably going to depend on each person's individual preference
Yeah.
to what they want to use and what they're comfortable bringing with them. And there are lights you can wear. A lot of them are made for repairs and constructions that go around your head and or hook over your ears. There
Mm-hmm.
are all different things that are available. Try them, see what works for you.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's and actually I've been talking about making some like mini courses because mini courses seem to do better that solve one
Mhm.
specific problem. And that's one problem that honestly I still need to fix for myself. And so I might just create a little mini course around it of like, hey, here's a list of wearables, here's a list of lights, here's only like because I'm gonna have to do the research anyways, because now I'm like now I'm excited to go like look it all up and figure out what
Yeah.
I can do.
And you'll find things that are comfortable for you. You'll find ones that are completely uncomfortable and awkward for you, but someone who's in one of your classes, that might work a lot better.
Yes, yes. Oh, I tell people all the time, I'm like, listen, this is what worked for me, but here's some other options too, because exactly what you said, what works for me may not work for you, and vice versa. So, real quick, and then we'll wind up, but like back to the actual content, I did want to make sure to ask you. So, when it comes to the platform specifically, do you find that, like, specifically for local service based businesses, have you found that there's certain ones that work better? Or do you think that, like, because we were talking earlier, do you think that, like, the whole idea of like Google, Instagram, and Facebook, keep it simple, like, is that a good strategy in your opinion? Or what are your thoughts around that?
In terms of local service-based businesses, you can't ignore the Google and Yelp because those are where people are searching. And even if they're not intentionally searching for Google reviews, they're typing into Google and getting that Google page result.
Yes.
So think about that. Another is, and I tell this to all types of businesses, don't become too dependent on a specific platform
Mm,
because these are all platforms owned by companies. It could disappear.
yeah.
You could get locked out. Your account could be frozen. There are lots of things that can happen. So don't depend and put your whole business on TikTok or on Instagram, which is why it's good to have two, three, maybe even four, if you count Google and Yelp, different choices. You guys are going to have something a little different than a lot of businesses where because you're really relying on those Google and Yelp reviews, I tell people you do not need to respond to every comment. You do not even need to read some of the comments sometimes because we all know what's in a lot of the comments. But Google and Yelp reviews are different, as these listeners know. Responding and being responsive and being on that platform directly relates to your visibility and your rating, as opposed
Yes.
to replying to someone who complained on Twitter.
Right.
It's a very different thing. So when we tell people you don't have to do the respond to all the comments, a huge caveat to that is service businesses, home services business, people who rely on those Google and Yelp type reviews. Also, if you're
Yes.
on Angie's or Thumbtack or one of the other premium paid platforms, be
Hmm.
responsive on there as well. When you're thinking
Yep.
about content, you don't not every piece of content has to be accomplishing everything.
Oh,
Think about you because it can't.
absolutely.
And that's one of the reasons that we use these content calendars is it helps us really see who is this talking to, what platforms it on, what is the message with it, who's it reaching, and what's it going to accomplish, because it might show how easy booking is. A post that shows how easy booking is going to be very different that shows a before and an after. You're accomplishing two things you need to show people: that the product worked, that it's successful, but also you can get in touch with us. Booking is easy, it's hassle free. You need to get both those messages out. One
Yes.
post will not accomplish both of those things. So don't
Right.
try to cram it all in. Make sure the totality of your content is doing that, because that will make things a lot easier and in many ways less stressful for you. And we think a lot about what people read, see, hear, and experience. Those four, we call our four languages model. It's how people really interact with content. Each one of those should amplify the others. One thing we really recommend you're doing on your own, if you're doing this yourself, if you call us, we would start with something similar to this, is just take a piece of paper. I find it easier if you're going long ways. Just put read, see, hear, experience, do 4 columns, write down what are people reading, what are people seeing, hearing, experiencing, how are those working together and amplifying each other. And that'll get you a pretty good idea of what you're doing. Because when you're doing it real time, you probably aren't seeing it, at least not in the same way. This gives you a chance to really step back and say, yeah, we have a lot of what people see. Your visual business, it's there,
Hmm.
it makes sense. We don't have that much in here. Not everyone's going to have podcasts that they're doing to have a lot in
Right.
here. But if you have videos, that audio is part of the experience of what people are seeing, which is what I
Yeah.
mean by how these are interplaying and amplifying each other. So if you do that sort of self-assessment, and really all you need to do is just take a piece of paper and a pen, and it's really easy to just take some time and figure out where you are in that regard.
I love it. And then tell me the four again. You said read, see, hear, and what am I missing?
Experience.
Oh, experience. Can you explain that one real quick?
That's the one that gets people the most tripped up because it is things like experiential events. If there was a home organizer conference, that's something you experience. But much more day to day is going to be how what we experience, what we read, see, and hear. An easy example that I use a lot is we're doing a podcast right now. We're recording video. If I'm someone who watches podcasts, I sit, I turn it on, I go to YouTube, I go to Instagram, I'm watching the full thing, or I'm watching clips, I'm seeing, I'm hearing, my experience is very different from someone who, like me as a podcast listener, I am a listener.
Yeah.
I am someone I listen when I'm driving, I'm listening when I'm walking the dog, I'll have it on when I'm cooking dinner. It'll be on, but I am not sitting to watch it. And I know a lot of people like to watch the podcast, which is why we do video, but a lot of people also are like me and we like to listen to it.
Yes,
And those are two
absolutely.
very different experiences. And that, because again, we're on a podcast, people are either watching it or listening to it, is a
Hmm.
pretty straightforward example of that
Yeah.
experience.
Okay. So, and then whenever, would you say something like a time lapse is an experience in the sense of like if it
It
was
is.
a before, a medium, and after, and they got to see it kind of like quickly done, they're almost experiencing it with you because they're seeing it in real time going through the stages. Would that be an experience?
It's how you experience those photos. So if you have 3 photos and you post them as a gallery, that's one way to experience it. Another would be turning it into that video, adding a little transition. And now that's a different experience. And you could use that on the same platform. That'll, if you put that still on those 3 stills on Instagram, it will display it very differently than if you have that
Right.
video. And that's a completely different experience for your user.
Love it. No, that's awesome. Okay, so I know that we're definitely I love talking to you. Okay, so tell everyone like where they can find you and like if you have any kind of like freebie or anything that you're offering, I would love for you to share.
We're on LinkedIn. You could find me, linkedin.com/in/Joshua. You can email me,jaltman at beltway.media, no.com. Check out the website, beltway.media, again, no.com. We're on social platforms, Instagram, Twitter, all of that. We are at the com. That'll be in the show notes. We do have a freebie for you guys, and that is a 100% off full discount on a comprehensive strategy session. And you can include the code in the show notes. Don't try and write it down now. It'll
Right.
be there for you to copy and paste.
Yes, yeah. All of the links will definitely be in the show notes and in the description on YouTube. So you guys can follow those links and go check that out. And then because it was, what did you say the freebie was? Because I mean, this is a pretty like big freebie, honestly.
It is a full comprehensive strategy session. So it's, if you go on our website and you see, use the booking link, that's a very overview, internal type. We're just kind of getting some information. The full strategy session is you send me stuff beforehand. I have a chance to go over it. We might do a couple emails before we talk, and it's really diving deep into you and your business.
I
Normally,
love it.
we work with people long term. Our contracts start at about 2 years
Oh, wow.
because this is a process.
Ah, see, I tell everybody all the time, I'm like, listen, 9 months to a year minimum when you're starting your business
Mm-hmm.
to have any kind of consistency in the clients that are coming through. And that's minimum. That's like,
Yeah.
the best case scenario. So I think that's amazing because, like you said, if it's a 2 year contract, it's because it takes that time to really get this honed in and really get your
Yeah.
things going that you need to get going.
And this is basically a one off type of meeting that you would have with us, really getting in as if we were a year and a half into our relationship. It's a full deep dive.
I love it. No, that's fantastic. I appreciate you so much for offering that because I know for a lot of us we just don't know what we don't know, and to have that chance to be able to talk with someone like you and have you look at our stuff and then talk it through,
Yeah.
like that's a huge offer. So I really appreciate you offering that to my listeners. Thank you, Joshua, so much for coming on the show. It's been such a pleasure. I told you I could have gone on forever with
Thank
you.
you for having me.
Yeah, and then for those of you listening, we appreciate you, and I will see you guys in the next episode.